If you've watched any of my other sketchbook videos, you'll know that my approach to sketchbooking is a little bit chaotic in the most fun way, I think. I don't really care about finishing them. Like, I do, but it's not like my main goal to finish a sketchbook. I just want to have fun in them. And even though I've got, I don't even know how many, 10 more on the go that are unfinished, I do not stop myself from going out and buying a new sketchbook whenever the heck I feel like it. I feel like, why would I deny myself that simple joy in life? So that is what I did this week. I went to Officeworks and I picked up this new sketchbook and these pencils, which, oh my God, look at them, they're so cute. These Faber Castell Black Edition pencils to further complement another set of them that I've got because I wanted to try out more because I like them so much. So in this video, I'm going to be trying out this new sketchbook. It is from Officeworks and it's their home brand called Born. That's what their Officeworks brand art supplies are called. So we're trying out that sketchbook and we're going to try these pencils along with some other media. It's going to be a mixed media spread because I feel like that's kind of the best way to approach testing out a new sketchbook. You kind of want to throw everything at it so you can really test the paper and see how it holds up with everything. So I wanted to go in first with the pencils, and because I've really been enjoying sketching with the other set I've got a set of 12 and I've really been liking sketching with those, so I thought I would use these as well. And I thought they'd be even better for sketching because the fact that they're pastel and fluoro colours means that they'll be a lot lighter, and because they're coloured pencils, they don't erase as well. So, the coloured pencil will stay there underneath the drawing. So I thought, the pastel colours, the fluoro colours would be nice for that. And we're drawing upper. I am obsessed. I think probably the rest of the world at the moment, I feel, ever since the live action Avatar came out. I feel like people have been really getting into it. Again, me included. I watched Avatar for the first time when it came out, when I was a young teen. And I loved it then, but I hadn't watched it since. So I've been rewatching it, and now I'm watching Legend of Korra, and I'm just having so much fun with it. It's the best. You've all probably watched it, so I don't need to sell it to you guys, but obviously Appa he's the star of the show. He's the hero. And I really want to do a painting of him and maybe the other animals from Avatar and Korra. But anyway, more about the supplies. So the pencils, they're really vibrant. You can see those fluoro colours. They had really good pigment. I was really pleasantly surprised at that. Well, not surprised, I thought they would. And they were laying down quite nicely on the paper. Later on in the video, I do talk about it a bit more. So I did there's a little bit of a strange feeling to this paper, but I talk about it again later in the video. But for this spread, I didn't really have a plan. I just knew I wanted to use some different mediums just to get a feel of the paper. So upper was the coloured pencil and ballpoint pen. And then now I'm drawing, and you can see me taking some footage for TikTok. If you see my phone in the video ever, it's because I'm trying to film for TikTok at the same time. And now I'm sort of using a reference photo, but not really. I'm doing a bit more of a doodly thing from my imagination. And I did that foliage next to upper. I knew I kind of wanted to do something a little bit abstract and not take too much time on it, but figure out how I could get the look of like a flower bush, like a bush with flowers on it, but not have to spend too much time on the detail. So I think it turned out okay. The ballpoint pen wouldn't go over the pencil in some areas that well, but in most areas it was fine. And this is just like a little kitty in a cauldron inside a window. And that's just cute. That's just really, really cute. And sometimes, you know, I just like to do little doodles in my sketchbook like this that might end up being paintings of their own later on. But yeah, just sort of like let my imagination go and just draw something fun, you know? And it wouldn't be a sketchbook page for me without at least one portrait. Now, I was really liking how the brush pen felt on this paper, and I've just been like in a brush pen kind of mood over the last week or so. So I knew I wanted to use it for the portrait, and I went in straight away with ballpoint to sort of map out roughly sort of where I was going to put the features, and then I wanted to just go in with the brush pen and not really have any lines or anything to go off, just go straight in and see what happened. And then I decided to use the blue pen to add more depth to the face. I'm really obsessed with these 4-color pens. This one's from Kmart. I know they're like the most basic like office supply, but that's why I love them. They're so fun. Just the fact that you've got those 4 different colors right there, and you don't have to just use black, like you can get different tones. I just think it's fun. So the reference photo I was using, she had this blue hair that kind of looked like blue fairy floss or something. So I knew I wanted to keep the blue, like I was using blue ballpoint, and then I was adding some shading in with the blue pencil. And I really enjoyed adding those shapes to the hair, like the line shapes. I think hair is really, really fun. There's so many ways that you can approach it. And I just like trying something new, like every time. And I think it turned out pretty well. Now, I wanted to add some pencil onto the face to sort of tie in the face with the rest of the spread. So I did that kind of like line, that line of sort of coloured light down her face. And although you can't really see it, I used a red ballpoint and I kind of went over the blue lines within that stripe of colour to give it like more of a warm tone. And it's very subtle, but I think it added something to the drawing. Now, I'm drawing some eyes with like traditional goth makeup. I found the reference on Pinterest and I just love the graphic style of goth makeup. I just think it is so fun to draw. So I knew I just wanted to draw some eyes in this space up here. I was really enjoying using the sketchbook. I think I feel a little bit out of practice with using a smaller sketchbook at the moment. I'm a bit more used to using maybe more of like an A4 size or just something bigger than an A5. So it did feel a little bit small, like for upper and for the face, the blue face, I feel like I wasn't able to get as much detail as I wanted because it was so small. But I'm going to share my thoughts with you in a moment or two, and I'm going to work on the finishing details of this spread in real time with you and sort of talk a bit about my process of finishing this spread and bring it all together. And I just found this quote on Pinterest and I quite liked it. And I used to do a lot more like writing and sort of like I wouldn't call it typography, but yeah, like writing words and phrases and stuff in my sketchbook, and yeah, sort of like trying different hand lettering things. And I want to sort of get back to that because I think it adds something cute to a spread. And also I think in hand lettering and typography, like you learn a lot about design. I think lettering is like a really amazing skill, and like typography. You learn a lot about design and you can do a lot with letters. I think it's just very fun. So this is a flying skull bat guy because why not? This is another photo I found on Pinterest, and I was just having fun playing with all the different colours in that pen. So I used the green to sketch that out and sort of added some little pastel clouds underneath him because I needed to fill in some gaps in the page. So I'm at the stage now where I want to add the finishing touches to this spread. And I'm just so curious as to how water-based mediums are going to work on this paper. It's an interesting kind of paper. So instead of waiting for another spread to use some watercolor or some water-based stuff, I'm going to add a little bit on this spread, just sort of filling up a few areas because I can't wait. And I'm too curious to know how it's going to work. I really hope it works nicely. Or at least just not weird, you know, I hope nothing weird happens. If it crinkles the paper a little bit, I don't mind. Like, this isn't watercolor paper, so I'm not expecting miracles, but I just don't want anything too weird to happen. Before I start this final detail part of the spread to tie everything together, can we just take a moment to appreciate that my paint water matches my empty monster can. Oh, it doesn't look exactly the same on camera, but in person, it's pretty good. It's kind of making me want to drink paint water right now. So, what color do I want to go in with? I've got this area sort of around upper and then around these bushes here that I might try to fill in with watercolor. But what color? I'm thinking of blue to sort of tie in with the blue ballpoint. And I just sort of feel like maybe this corner up here could use a little bit of this blue from the ballpoint pen. Okay, that's interesting. This is kind of confirming my suspicions a little bit. It's almost like the watercolor, like the water's sitting on top of the paper. Like the paper's got some kind of coating on it. Because it does kind of feel like that. It's got this kind of smooth feeling. It's strange. Like it feels nice, but yeah, so it sort of sits on top a little bit and then it's not doing it too badly. It is sinking in. That might actually even be quite nice for watercolor because I might have a little bit more time to blend and to move the colour around before it sets into the page. Yeah, so far I'm not mad at that. The page is buckling a little bit, but that's definitely to be expected. This is only 180 GSM paper, and it's not labelled as, you know, watercolour paper or mixed media paper. So I'm going to leave that area for a minute and do something over here. What colour do I want to do? Do a yellow. Let's do a yellow orange type of thing, maybe. So I'm being a little bit careful not to touch that brush pen hair here because, wait, actually, maybe it is waterproof. I haven't used it in a while and I thought it was water soluble. No, that's waterproof. Oh, that's good, okay. So I can kind of go on top of that and not have to worry about it too much, or at all, actually. Not doing anything too crazy with the watercolour. I'm literally just sort of filling in some of this white space and testing out how they work on this paper. what are my final thoughts on this sketchbook and the pencils? I really love them. I really love them. I think for the price, they're really good. They're both super budget-friendly art supplies. And I really like how they're really easily accessible, at least in Australia. There's Officeworks everywhere. Like, I feel like around me, I'm in quite an art store desert. I have one local art store, and it's really good, but that's it. And then I think the closest, like Eckersley's or like the closest other art stores are probably like a 45-minute drive away, at least. And then in Sydney, obviously there'd be quite a few, but around me, there's not that much. We don't even have an Eckersley's. So having some good art supplies at Officeworks is a lifesaver. And I would 100% buy this sketchbook again. I really like it. I think you get a really beautiful book. Like, it's got a fabric cover. It's got like an elastic band thing that holds it closed. I really like the black end papers, the front and the back. I think that's a really nice touch. And the paper itself, I think, is quite nice for a, it's 180 GSM, but it's not labelled for mixed media, it's not labelled for watercolour, it's not labelled for anything, it's just 180 GSM. So I think it handles most things quite nicely. It does have a bit of a tooth to it, but it's got almost this smooth, almost plasticky, slightly plasticky feel to it. So I think with the coloured pencils, it didn't necessarily work the best. I think they I couldn't get enough pigment from the coloured pencils as I'd like, even though they are fluoro and pastel pencils, so they're always going to be quite light. But I feel like I could feel that the pencils and the paper was kind of resisting the pencils a little bit. But sketchbooks for me don't really have to be perfect. I actually quite like having more affordable budget sketchbooks because I feel less pressure when I'm working in them. This is definitely one that look who just barged in here. Hello. Hi, bud. Love me and leave me. I see how it is. Oh. Hello. Oh. Hello. So where was I? Basically, I really like this sketchbook and I'm excited to keep using it. I think things are potentially going to bleed through to the other side. So yeah, the downsides to the sketchbook are I have noticed a little bit of bleed through or like ghosting on the other side of the page. It doesn't bother me too much, it might bother you. And that kind of slip to the paper that feels a little bit smooth, a little bit plasticky. Those would be the only two downsides, but they don't bother me, so they might not bother you. The upsides, price, really nicely made, like feels really high quality. And I feel like the paper is quite good mixed media paper. It's 180 GSM. It's not the thickest. It's going to buckle a little bit or a lot. I don't know, depending on what you use, but it still has a really nice texture, has a nice feel to it. It felt nice working in it. The pencils, I love them. I just love them. I really, really, really want a bigger set now, but I'm glad I dabbled in this smaller set, again, just to make sure that I really like them. And I just think they're really nice. I really love the black, like the black next to the colour lead. I think they're just really pretty and satisfying to use. And I really enjoy the colours. And I think for the price, they're really good colour pencils. But in saying that, I'm not like a coloured pencil aficionado. I never really use them. I'm only just sort of getting into them. So take that with a grain of salt. But if you're like me and you're not too fussed, I think they're really worth a try. And the fact that you can get a small box of them for such a low price, I think it's like a really risk-free way to try them and see if you like them. Thank you so much for watching this video. I had a lot of fun making this video this week. I really felt like I just needed to have some quality sketchbook time, and what's better than quality sketchbook time? Quality sketchbook time in a brand new, fresh, delicious blank sketchbook. You know, the possibilities. It's the best. So yeah, thank you for watching. I'll see you in next week's video. And yeah, I love you. All right, bye. Bye.